So today's session again is using the Minecraft Education Edition build challenges to connect with students during remote learning. I'm kind of going to be sharing with you more about how I'm using those challenges because they're already set up to really connect with my students more on a social emotional level and to help them stay connected to each other than I am about learning to play with Minecraft. It'd be great to let us know if you want to be having some sessions around learning to play. I certainly can accommodate all of you on that, but just let us know, as where this one is just an ability to see how I'm using it in my own classroom. My name's Mary-Elizabeth Pearson, and I have been a teacher for about 23 years. Currently, I am in the Pacific Northwest in Washington State, but I am living and working in Merida, Mexico normally. With COVID, that kind of changed our plans, and my family and I came back to Washington State because things were opening up here but closing in Mexico, and my children were working online, and so is my husband. So we all are working online from Washington State. So it's my roundabout way of saying where I'm at, and traveling the world and traveling in an airplane during COVID was very interesting. So the airports are pretty empty and not a lot is open. It was kind of an eerie experience. I've trained teachers how to use Minecraft. I've used it with my own students. I'm currently doing it in an environment in Mexico where I have it at an international school. So just know that I'm not a gamer, and I do not believe that you have to be one either. But I do believe that Minecraft's a tool for modern teaching and learning, and that there's power in its ability to put us as the educators back in the learner mindset while empowering our students to become creators and designers in their own thinking. You can connect with me at Craft Savvy Teach, also at Pearson MEP professionally. So I'd be happy to help answer any of your questions. And I'm also a global mentor. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of confidence in me being able to share some of the work that I'm doing with students with you. So I just wanted to point out where Merida is in case you do not know. Sometimes when I say that, people say I'm in Mexico. Merida is on the Yucatan Peninsula. And my students are at the Madison International School. I put the little sunshines over their faces. These were a couple pictures of my actual students. I'm working with students who are I have about 10 students in the 4th through 6th grade. They do academies after school as their enrichment. So they're something that is usually worked into students' day in general, but they happen after school. So we're doing a Minecraft and Education Club, but everything that I'm going to be talking with you about today is really something you can apply to your classroom and to your remote learning with students. Even though my specific instance is as a club, I recently added a 1st grader to this group, so I have a really wide range of skills and abilities. The teachers, when COVID hit, our teachers, on March 19th, we closed schools, and by March 21st, our students were all online learning with Google Classroom, Seesaw, and then there's an IB management program that they were using for all of their instruction. So what I needed to do was figure out what learning platform they were comfortable with and then fit Minecraft into that learning platform. What I was noticing is parents were contacting me, and we didn't start with Minecraft right away. Parents started to contact me to say, my student's really asking about wanting to continue this academy. And if we have soccer coaches doing practices online, how can we also do Minecraft online? So it really was an opportunity for me to jump right in to be able to support these kids in my classroom. I have English speakers, Spanish speakers, and French speakers in this group. So it's a really wide range to get them to be connected to each other. So I set up the learning environment. That was the first thing that I did. I took their Google Classroom. I said, and it doesn't matter what cloud storage or learning management system that you use, you can just use this as a guide. I said, okay, we're going to create a Minecraft Google Classroom, and I'm going to have all of my students in here. What I ended up doing was be able to share with my students that I sent them an email after this to join this class, and then how to download Minecraft Education Edition, because they all had Minecraft Education Edition on the school computers, but when they were at home, some of them didn't have the computers that they have at school, so they all had to figure out what they were doing. What I do want to point out to you is that I had kids on iPads, I had kids on laptops with Windows 10. Minecraft, if you don't already know, doesn't work on Chromebooks, so they wouldn't be able to do it on those. But I did have some students who actually had Xbox version and Java edition on PCs, and I had to decide if it was more important to get them connecting and learning through Minecraft, or was it most important to have them be on the education edition. And I decided that I wanted them to use Minecraft in whatever form they could to be able to connect back with me and with their classmates. And I'll show you how I did that. The first thing that I had to do, or the second thing after I figured out how I wanted to set them up, was to take them into the build challenges and find the right build challenge for each section. In the classroom, I definitely had been using these monthly build challenges, which are in game. Right now, I'm actually inside of Minecraft, if you haven't seen Minecraft. And I click on the monthly build challenge, and there are all of these different kinds of challenges that are designed around about 20 to 30 minute lessons that allow us to give it to our students, have our students be working inside of it without a lot of explanation and a connection to specific standards. So what was happening here is I was using these when we were in the classroom, and I was tying these to different things that were happening in all of their classes. I had knew what standards their teachers were trying to teach, like we talked about. I used this one, which was this block biography, had them go through and create a biography visually around someone who from history. And so I tied that to what they were doing. In September, we went down and used, these are all alphabetical. We went down and used the Museum of Me, which I went right past it. We used the Museum of Me up here in September to kind of get to know them. So I really tried to connect those things to what was happening in their classroom. But now in this remote situation, I had to kind of flip the thinking and move from their content standards to more of a connection tool around their social emotional. So the first one that we did together in this space was I decided to use the bedroom, as I'm scrolling up here, this Build a Better Bedroom. So as I clicked on this, I noticed that it said, design your ideal bedroom that includes at least one way to get exercise indoors. And what I loved about that was here we all were kind of being at home, and in the Yucatan's really hot, so we have a little bit more opportunity for them to be outside. But the hotter it gets, the more that they go inside. So how could they be thinking about what kind of exercise could I get as we're in this new reality? The build challenge gives you objectives. So it said, have you been spending a lot of time inside recently? Give this build challenge a try to flex your creativity and maybe your body as well. Your challenge this month is to design your ideal bedroom that includes at least one way to exercise indoors. And it talks about different kinds of like slime block bed bouncing. It tries to also teach them some tools that are inside Minecraft that students could be using. And then it gives you extensions. So if you're looking to use Minecraft with your students now, the build challenges give us everything that we need to be able to release that world right to the students. So what my students would do would be to press on Create World. So if they're using Minecraft Education Edition, they create that world right from here. And I don't have to share anything with them or send anything to them. And I didn't have to use the Google Classroom. But because students were outside of the game using the Bedrock Edition, I'll show you how I had them then share it back with me. So inside these build challenges, you'll see that they give all of the information that we just looked at, and then it takes us to an example, and then it gives us a space for students to build. So you wouldn't have to know how to do any of the stuff that's been done here. It's already here for you. The examples on the left and then the wide open bedroom is on the right. So the students would go into the example to kind of learn more about what they were supposed to do. And inside here, it would show them all of the different things that you could do to the tools you could use. So again, they don't have to start from scratch. I don't know how to build all this stuff. I do now because I went through this world and I learned that when you're up here on this bed, the slime block, as you go up here, the slime block, if I go up and then I come down, I bounce on this bed. And those are things that are fun for you to be learning alongside of your students, but you don't have to know how to do all of that. So all of these build challenges give you an example, and then they give you a space to build. So what I did with my students is I had them go in here, look around, and then they had to build on their own. So again, what you need to know about these build challenges, if I escape out of here for you, is that take some time to look through all of the ones that exist here for you to be able to decide what best fits the group of students that you're currently working with. And that's really important because you might have it as a classroom teacher where you know what standards you're working on, and maybe the area and volume challenge over here will fit what you're trying to get students to think about. Or you finished a lesson and you'd like to incorporate Minecraft that way. There are so many ways that you can use these. You can use these worlds as a template for you to start to create your own world. I could go back in and change those boards and have different directions for kids depending on what I'm trying to get them to accomplish. In my case, again, I was trying to really make sure students had a way to connect to each other and to me more in a social aspect. That's why I chose the bedroom. It did not go with the standards that they were learning. It went strictly just in how they could be using it to connect. So after I chose that one, I remember I told you that students didn't have they don't all have a education edition. Some of them were using the Xbox and the Bedrock edition, or they were using the Java edition. So I had 3 different editions happening, and I didn't want to limit them just because of they hadn't downloaded the education edition. I gave them all of the information to download it. I gave them their logins and their passwords, but some of them, for whatever reason, they wanted to use the other versions. And I just decided it didn't matter to me. It was really about that connection. So what you're looking at right now is how I set up that lesson. So again, if you're familiar with Google, I went in to create a lesson, and you can see I have 3 in process. I have the Build a Better Bedroom. I use the My Machine, where they use the redstone to create a machine. And then I have my first grader, I had him working on the patterns, repetition, and rhythm, because he's brand new to Minecraft in general, as where some of my 4th, 5th, and 6th graders are way beyond, and I'm learning a ton from them. So I had to kind of accommodate for both groups. So I created the lesson, and then inside the lesson, the instructions, I took them straight from the build challenge. I didn't add anything except at the end. You'll notice I say click on the link below or view the Build a Better Bedroom slide deck to find the world and begin your building. If you do not have the education edition, just create your world in another version. So then I attach the actual link, because you can get the link from there. And then, as all of us know, I sometimes, because I'm not physically with them, I have to be very explicit in the directions, because I know them well enough to know that they will come back to me and be like, where is that world again? How do I get the world? So I was trying to head off some of those questions before they happened. So as you can see here, I wanted you to see the slide deck. Again, all I did was screenshot the actual in-game, and I said, here it is again, with the direction, with what I'm asking them to do. And then this last slide is the deck where I copied and pasted saying, I want you to go here, I want you to go monthly build challenges, and I want you to find the Build a Better Bedroom. And all of us that are educators of students, especially I think K-12, you have to be so explicit with your directions. And I really was trying to make them self-sufficient, but I knew that I was going to get, all of them would ask me where it was if I didn't do this. So they had multiple ways to access it. They could be in game and go there. They could be out of the game and recreate this world, or they could be going in and just using whatever Minecraft edition that they had access to. And then what I want to make sure is that I gave them feedback, because that's part of that connection. So because all of my students, I wanted to show you the actual Google Classroom, but with privacy statements. And what I learned last week from NCCE live event, I wanted to make sure I was protecting their privacy. Hopefully I get some kudos for that. So I took off all their names, and then I just I'm not grading these, but I wanted to know who had turned it in and who needed more time, because I do them weekly, but I had already explained to them, it's okay if it says missing, you will turn that into me whenever you're ready, just so I didn't miss them. So I keep track of them from here. And then what I do when I'm done is I posted, you can see my post to them back is I wanted to share the builds that they did. So I took their videos or their worlds or their images that they shared with me, and I put them back into my Google Classroom, and I shared it back with them. And so now what they can do is click on these and watch each other's videos or check out each other's video images, and then be able to comment back to each other. And they were doing that under here, but again, to protect their privacy, I'm not showing you that. So they were clicking on the video, and what was really interesting is in the Build a Better Bedroom was the first one we did online, and then the My Machine one, I got only one student did the video in the first one, but after the kids could get in and watch that student's video, now I have only videos that are being turned into me of where we're walking each other through the worlds. Because what I have found is students really love that connection to each other. They love to get in with each other into the one world. But because we're in this remote situation, and I tried to do the remote connection with them, but when you are try to join worlds with each other on when you don't have the same Wi-Fi, you might have a lot more success than I did. Some people, we've seen it work really well. I don't know if it's because of the distance or what was happening, but we couldn't get them all to connect to each other. And when you don't know what router system or what internet they have, and then for me, I had to read some of their internet router information in Spanish, which was quite the treat for me to be doing some learning there. It was really hard to try to open ports and do all the things that they needed to do to be able to join together remotely. So I chose to pull them in this way to connect through the use of this, through Google Classroom or whatever cloud service that you're using. It still gives them the opportunity to share. And then once a month, we'll jump on a call together and then kind of get them to see each other and talk through some of the things we've been working on. I wanted to make sure that you also had some resources for learning with Minecraft. I know this is a really shortened opportunity to just kind of show you how you could use it to connect with students. But if you have not used Minecraft before, I know you probably have a lot of questions about the who, the what, the how. So these resources that Mary will be throwing in the chat window for you are resources where you have the remote learning resources. So if you wanted to try to connect remotely with your student, there's directions there. The Build Challenges link will take you right to the Build Challenges page on the website, because they exist there too. The Minecraft Education Edition website, there's also a course called My Minecraft Journey that will walk you through some of the things you might want. If you've never played before and you're curious, you could go there to do some learning. You can also follow at Playcraft Learn or Minecraft EDU. There's YouTube playlists and Pinterest boards with the Minecraft Education Edition name, and they also give you ideas on how you could be using these in the classroom. And so now I kind of wanted to open that up to some questions if you had any for me.
Mary-Elizabeth, we had one question in chat about ways to make videos videos of play in Minecraft, and so I did put an answer in there about you could use like a screen recording software like Game Bar or just use PowerPoint Screen Recorder. But there are a plethora of those options for them, I know. So
yes, and Screencastify as well. I think my students have been using the Game Bar on their PCs, so that I'm glad that you mentioned that one, but I also noticed that I had to actually go in and walk a couple of them through how to do some of that video recording. And we talked about, what had their I tried to really stick to what they knew and what their teachers had been sharing with them by using those tools. So kind of be thinking about what are some of the video recording tools that you already use that they might be familiar with. So I think it's really important just to remember that as you're thinking about using Minecraft in the remote learning setting, that you can use it for not only learning and content delivery, you can really use it also for the social emotional aspect of connecting back to students. And really get in and look at those build challenges and know that they are designed to be really short. Like sometimes I say I have to actually have my students go back in and build more because they are like, oh, I'm done. Well, but what about those extensions? And so it really gives you the opportunity to stretch it. Like I stretch them for a week, even though they're only 20 to 30 minutes, just to give them the time to build, but also to push on them to dig a little bit deeper. Any other questions? I do have Minecraft open, so if you have any specific Minecraft questions, you can ask me those too, and if I can answer them, I will.
We have a question about integrating Minecraft with Teams.
Oh, so funny. We just were doing that today. Before I got to you guys on this call, we were using Teams to deliver Minecraft training to teachers in Wake County, in Georgia, or I'm sorry, in North Carolina. So you can, just like I exported, I used the Google Classroom example because that's what my students are using, but you could do the exact same thing with Teams. So you set up the assignment, you attach the lessons to Teams, and then you're able to have students upload and download and export their worlds from Teams as well. And in the just like I put in for kids to be able to look at each other's, you can do the same thing. You could have them post in the general channel or in any of the channels that you may have created for your class. You can even label it like I did, where I have a channel called Build Challenges, and then you have all the students be putting all their build challenges maybe into folders there and being able to look at each other's, because you could export the world there too, and then they can open the world from there. So it doesn't really matter what cloud LMS or that you're using, or whether it's Teams or Google Classroom, you have the ability to do the same thing. You just need to know, if you're more comfortable with Teams, you know how to set up a Teams account, and you're using that with your students for delivery of all of your work. It functions the exact same way. The worlds will import and export and upload and download out of there. Any other questions? Well, I thank you guys for joining me today. Don't be afraid to reach out to the Craft Savvy Teach if you have any questions, or tag me in some of your posts so I can share some of the great things that you might already be doing. I would also ask that if any of you are looking for more specifics on Minecraft, whether it's learning how to play Minecraft education, or how to develop and design lessons, that you maybe throw that in the chat so we can be able to accommodate some of those needs maybe in a future live event.